Hey, Alan here for Old English Outfitters. You know, the 22 long rifle cartridge is one of the most versatile modern firearms cartridges ever designed. Made in huge numbers, made in various power ranges, as we've talked before on a different video. Hugely versatile, not expensive, and can be used for lots of things. And one of the things that it can be used for, and this is a very, very old design, is a shot shell. Now, there are fundamentally two types of 22 shot shells. There are other calibers that use shot shells too, but specifically we're going to talk about the 22. There's fundamentally two kinds. One of them is an all brass cartridge that's just crimped shut on the front. I don't have one to show you because we're simply out of them right now. It's very simple. When you pull the trigger, the crimped section just blows open and the shot just travels in a loose fashion down the barrel and out the front end. The other kind was invented by CCI a number of years ago, and that's this thing right here. And this is a capsulated shot shell. So what you have here is you have a long rifle casing, and you have a plastic capsule that holds, are you ready for this? 1/15 of an ounce of number 12 shot, really fine shot, contained in this little capsule. So when this fires, when it exits the barrel, the capsule ruptures. So you get some little plastic fragments from the capsule, plus you get the shot traveling downrange. Now, this is kind of funny because I remember when this was first designed. I remember it first came out. And I remember my great uncle trying to eliminate some birds in his barn with his rifle and shooting directly at them and watching them fly away absolutely unhurt and wondering why. And he actually took one of these and he fired a round out of his rifle. He had an old single-shot Remington, if I remember correctly, and he fired at a piece of paper to see what the pattern looked like. And what he discovered was there was a great big gap, a big hole right in the center of the pattern. The shot was all strung out in a big circle out around. And the reason is because that capsule, when it goes down a rifled barrel, spins just like a normal projectile does. So when it comes out the barrel, it spins like this, which has a tendency to throw the shot pattern when the capsule ruptures. Now, years ago, they used to make smoothbore 22 caliber rifles to shoot those crimped shot shells before the CCI version came along. Well, now we have Henry entering the field of this thing with this. This is their garden gun. And if you look at it, it looks fundamentally same size and dimensions, 18.5-inch barrel, I think. Same size and dimensions as their normal baseline 22 caliber rifle. Except this rifle doesn't have a twist. It's not a rifle. The barrel is not rifled at all. It's completely smoothbore. This is specifically designed for, and it'll say on the barrel, shot shells only, 22 shot shells only. Because there's no rifling in it. There's no way to shoot a conventional round. There's nothing to spin it. It's terrible. So, but shot shells work really well. Not having rifling means that this shell with the capsule doesn't spin. So it does what it's supposed to do. When it leaves the barrel, the capsule ruptures and you get a nice pattern. Nice, dense little pattern, number 12 shot. How far away can you shoot this? Well, let's keep in mind what it's designed for. It's designed for small pests, small critters, maybe birds, mice, moles, small little animals that are getting into your garden, hence the name garden gun, right? How far away can you shoot it? Well, it's going to spread out pretty good at, say, 40 feet. 40 feet's kind of far for something like this. Probably okay for birds. Get enough of a pattern to take small creatures like that down. Obviously, the closer you get, this has no choke in it. It's essentially just a straight tube. So as you get closer, the shot pattern is going to get denser. You could use it on snakes. You could use it on small things like that without any real trouble. Because the shot's so small, too, if you were inside of something like a barn, for example, much less chance of poking a hole through a metal barn roof or anything like that. Speaking of barns, if you look at this gun, the stock is very different than most of the other Henrys. The other Henrys typically use walnut in some grade in their lever actions. This is definitely not walnut. It's actually ash. And the way they finish it, it has this dark colored, it almost has a little bit of a green tint to it. It kind of reminds you of the wood that would be in an old barn or an old farm fence, something like that. So that's kind of nice because it visually sets it off from another type of rifle. So if you grab this, you know what you're grabbing. You're not grabbing the rifle one, you're grabbing the smoothbore one. We had a little fun shooting this morning with these CCI rounds. We used an unopened can of Diet Coke and an unopened can of regular Coke as targets. And at 25 feet or so, pattern was dense enough to really shred those two cans pretty well. Moving in closer, say 6-8 feet, you get a pretty tight little pattern right there in the center. Again, because it's smooth bore, these capsulated rounds work really well. I would think the crimped rounds would work really well too, because there's no rifling there to disrupt that shot pack as it's coming down the barrel. Sights on this, it does have sights, not like a shotgun really with a bead. It does have sights. It's got the normal Henry sights that you see on their .22 rifles. Their base versions. It's got just a simple square notch blade rear and a simple blade front with a cover over the top of it. It loads through the top of the through the magazine tube up here. No side gate load. Action was like all the Henrys I've ever seen. Smooth as glass. No issues whatsoever pushing these things through the action. You know, sometimes you might be concerned with you got a little plastic capsule up here instead of a solid lead bullet. Is that going to cause any trouble? No problem at all. We put quite a few of them through this with absolutely zero issues. And patterns were really nice at the sort of ranges we were shooting. Now, we didn't back up really far. We stayed kind of close, 25, maybe 30 feet at the most. But certainly adequate patterns for the use that it's intended for. It is dovetailed on top, just like the standard. This is a standard .22 receiver, so it does dovetail up there. So I suppose if you really felt like it, you could put a scope or something up there, but why? You're shooting shot, and you're shooting at relatively close range. You probably don't really need a scope unless you had some specific vision issue that would require it. Neat little gun. Certainly would fill the mission of dealing with small pests in the garden or the barn or anything like that over the summertime months or wintertime months. A lot of fun. We enjoyed it. Right now, we have a couple of these. Check with us for price and availability on them if you're interested. The .22 shot shells, normally we've been having the CCIs. Been a little while since we've had the crimped stuff. And I know this time of year specifically because we're shooting this in the spring of the year. Folks are interested in protecting their gardens and flowers and things from small creatures. Even bees you could potentially use this on. I don't think I'd want to shoot it into a bee nest. Might not be a good idea. Somebody's going to ask the question, could you use this for defense? In an emergency only, it's better than nothing, but it's not intended for that purpose. And you're not going to have the kind of effectiveness you would have off of something else. Okay, well, that's what we have, the Henry Garden Gun. Remember, shot shells and shot shells only for this rifle, or shotgun, or whatever they choose to call it. All right, well, that's all we have for right now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. This is Alan for Old English Outfitters.